Hello everybody and welcome back to the Silicon Nubian channel where we're all about things tech. As promised, this is my personal Ryzen build, personal workstation. Please see below the video description for the full list of components that are going to this build, and I'm very happy to get it out to you. So let's get started and get this thing built. Okay everyone, the build has begun. I've removed carefully the tempered glass side for the Phanteks case, and I'm going to install the backplate. It's just something I do pretty much right away to get the build started. I'll probably speed up the video quite a bit while I'm doing this because it's going to be boring otherwise. I'm going to go slowly and methodically and get this done properly. So let's get started.
This is a Ryan Little production. Ryan Little. This is a Ryan Little production. Ryan Little.
Okay, now that we've pretty much got the system the way we like it, the way I like it, I've moved it to the desk. We're going to do a power on test, but first we got to put it back together. So this is the computing end. Stand with all the components. Once again, you see some multicolored strands of wire and stuff. That'll be replaced over time. But in order to get the build done, it was done. I put the LED lighting strip up here. It is RGB. The Phanteks P400S case does come with an RGB lighting strip, which is really nice. And it's magnetic. Although I gotta tell you, the magnets aren't that strong. They're right up here. You might want to put some two-sided tape. That might help it a little bit, but for the sake of this build, I haven't. Still have a few wires at the top here that I don't know what to do with. I'm going to deal with that after, but all in all, those are going to be pretty much hidden 99% of the time. So that's the working end. Now if we turn it around, with respect to cable management, you see what we've done. I've used the tie-ins as best I could. This is always going to be a little bit of an angle. That's a fan. This is some of the wires from the front that I mentioned before, 24-pin cable and whatnot. The connector. It does have a few features which I love. It has a built-in fan controller, plus it has the RGB lighting controller at the top, and a few other features. Makes this case a joy to build with. Very easy to get a very clean look. Everything's down here, so we're going to put the back side on. But first we're going to put the plate on the front. I have not put any fans in the top. These are magnetic. And this is the silent edition. If you get a P400 with an S at the end of it, most of the panels have a sound absorbing foam built into them. This can fit two 120s or 240 millimeter fans at the top. There are two plates that come off right here. Haven't used them, but I like the clean look. I'm not too worried about temps on this build. We'll see how that works out. So this is the rear end. Looks fairly clean, nothing much. There's the RX 580 video card. Pulled out the HDMI already, and the back plate. Everything is really clean. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start putting on. Oh, there we go. Putting this back together. This is the rear sheet. One thing Phanteks does, which is cool, which I like, is the bolts are captive, and once again the aforementioned sound absorbing foam. Beautiful. Fits right away. Okay. Nice. Everything's tucked away. I don't know if you can see it in the shot, but you can see the removable dust filter, and there's the power supply fan. Got that on. I'm going to put the front plate on first before I put on the glass. I can turn this around to hear the water moving around in the radiator. Okay. The front of the 400S feels like metal. It is metal. It's a piece of metal. And you have, again, the sound absorbing foam. This is to let the lights through. It has RGB lighting for a Phanteks symbol. So hopefully you can catch it in the shot. Sorry folks, I don't have a high-end camera. That's it. Oh yeah, got some weight to it now. That's the front. Probably can't see all of it. And now, might have to reseat that. Now we're going to put on the glass side panel. Okay, this is a delicate job. I should really wipe it beforehand. There you go. Tempered glass side panel is on. I like that you see the dark shading around the edge so it hides any other imperfections in your build. I see one right now, so I'm going to remove the glass panel. Right! That's something you want to happen, not now. Definitely want to use some two-sided tape on that LED bar. It's too easy to come off. And now we're going to apply the 4 screws to hold it down, and they have a rubber seal, and the mounting point itself is also rubberized. So we're going to put these in. Hope you can catch this, what I'm doing. Definitely, please do not over tighten these. It's just to hold the glass in, barely finger tight. And you're done. Might have some dust on the inside of the glass. Let's see what this baby looks like. There we have it. Beautiful. There's a little sticker on the outside. I'm going to leave it there. It's just a warning for that this is a tempered glass door and blah, blah, blah. Be careful. Absolutely stunning case. The glass has, the tempered glass has a sort of smoky finish to it. So now what we have to do is hook it up, plug it in, and let's power up this bad boy. Got all my host of plugs here. We'll be using HDMI. That's good. Keyboard, mouse. Not the ones I'll be using day to day. These are just the ones I use to build or test PCs. Cheap set, but it works. Okay. Network cable is in. And power is in. Okay, so everything's connected. The monitor is here. So let's start this up and let's get into the BIOS. Oh, turn the power switch on here. Absolutely beautiful. Wow. I hear the fan spinning up and spinning down slightly. And then they're getting quiet, and here we are. I'm getting a fantastic. You see the LED at the top? You can change the colors. There's a little button here. If you can see the color changes to match your components. That's a plus. There's a fan controller here. The buttons are a little underneath. If you have really fat fingers, you're going to have a hard time with that. Just to show you that it is working, let's spin you around. There's the BIOS. I did cheat a bit, a lot. I did boot it up prior and I updated the BIOS. It shipped with the 1.4 BIOS. On the BIOS chip, in the board, on the board, sorry, there's actually a little sticker that tells you the BIOS version that's there. I immediately updated to the 2.5, the AB350 Pro 4. Now I'm running at the P2.50, Ryzen 7 1700, 8-core processor, 3 gigahertz speed right now. Tells you everything. It's just 16 gigs of memory, and I'm at DDR4 2933. Once again, I did cheat. I did boot up the system prior. I could not get it to run at DDR 3200, which is what the sticks are that are in there. I know that's an issue, but as early as yesterday, I read that AMD has already prepped another microcode release, which should alleviate that issue, and I'll be able to run around at full speed. Not a big problem. We could go through the BIOS a bit. Hardware monitor, voltage, everything I put it at. I prefer to leave everything right now as untouched as possible. I did raise the RAM speeds. There's been reports of better performance with higher RAM speeds with the Infinity Fabric, the way that the cores talk to each other. So I did it as much as possible. SMT is enabled. That's the XMP profile. I did not use the XMP settings. This 2933. And here's the CAS 16, 18, 18. I don't even believe those are the proper CAS settings. What I might do is manually enter in the CAS settings for my sticks of RAM. And that might help me a bit. Go to advanced, CPU configuration, cool and quiet enabled. I barely touched this, so what you're seeing is really as I'm seeing it. AMD CBS. Operating your AMD outside of specification and excess factor says including not limited overclocking may damage or shorten the life. Okay. DRAM timing configuration 16, 18, 18, 18, 36. I'm not sure if that's correct. I'll have to double check that for my particular RAM. Tools. Here we have the RGB LED, which I don't have any attached to the two RGB headers that the motherboard does have. Check out my video when I do the overview of the board. RAID installer, not going to be running RAID. Here's the InstaFlash, which I used. I just put the proper file downloaded directly from ASRock and put it on a flash drive, selected it. I didn't even have to select it. This tool is very smart. It'll scan the whole drive that you stick in there, and it'll find the BIOS file for you. So you don't even have to select it. And it'll ask you, of course, is this the proper one? Updating a BIOS, honestly, folks, unless you absolutely have to, don't do it. But with the new Ryzen CPUs and the new platform, it's kind of more, you might have to than otherwise to get the full benefits. Hardware monitor, we can see my CPU temp is presently at 37.5. Could be lower. The ambient temperature here is about 23, 24 Celsius. I'm in Canada, folks. It's Celsius here. But I have the pumps working at full speed, but I have the fans set on quiet operation. If I had it on normal or otherwise, it would be a lot, like you see here, my CPU fan setting, which the fans for the on the radiator are set to silent mode. Let's just show you something here. Full speed, you're going to hear a lot of noise. I'm not going to say that. Love this cooler. It's the Corsair H105, but the fans do get very noisy when they reach around 40 or 50% and higher. They do get quite noisy, and I think I'm okay with this right now. If I'm gaming, I'll just use the ASRock utility in Windows, and that'll adjust the fan speed for me rather than doing it here. Security, supervisor, secure boot. My Adata drive right now is the only drive in there. So let's boot into Windows. It's my tried and true trusted monitor, but of course, as you can see, scratch. It's okay. A little dusty in here. There's the one thing that was announced by a few folks is that the boot times for the B350 chipset were quite long. I don't know. I can't say that they're that long. It does go through more tests or more up and downs than I've seen in others, but Windows comes up pretty quick. boom, you're at the desktop. So when it does actually start to boot, it boots very quickly. And this is the AI tuning utility I was telling you about. I might do a video on that. So let's take our attention back to the PC itself. There we have it, running beautifully. Hopefully, let me show you something. Hopefully this will, oh, this is the, let me change the lighting a bit. The top power button also changes color. Let me shut this down. Actually, no, I can't. Hopefully you'll be able to see this. I'm going to move the camera. I'm sorry. The Phanteks sign actually lights up in the RGB color that you've selected, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. And if you look on top, the power button lights up in the RGB color that you've selected. See how it's changing? Depending on the color I select. So, that's it, folks. That's my build video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I'm going to enjoy using this system. It's wonderful. Wonderful. And if you like what you see, please subscribe. Tell others about the channel. I do have another build. It's more of a transplant. I intend on transplanting my i7-4790K desktop, my tried and true workhorse, into a smaller case because my plan is to bring all my cases on the desk. I no longer want to have computers on the floor. So that's it. Hope you like it, and please subscribe, tell your friends about it. It's been great. Take care.